Or you?
Well, it's probably going to be a bit of both, to be honest.
Do you have one yourself?
I do indeed. I'm just going to put this kind of here so we can kind of see us. Hopefully that's roughly in range, but anyway. Yeah, so we've just read the Hadith, and we accept that in this Hadith, which is Sahih, Muhammad had heard that in a battle that Abu Bakr was the commander of, there were women and children who were killed in the night raids. And they asked Muhammad about this, and Muhammad said, they are from them. Now that to me seems like an agreement of some sort that this was acceptable in this situation.
Okay.
But we then know from later hadith that Muhammad forbids the issue of killing women and children. I'm happy to say that, but what I want you to focus on is that beforehand, he clearly seemed to allow on that instance the killing of women and children.
You know, I read this hadith before, you know, it's this hadith, it's the Sahaba after the battle, they came to the Prophet and said to him, when we were fighting, women and children died. Children died.
Yeah.
Did we commit any crime there? Or maybe they were saying,
Sure,
that
I can
doesn't
see
look
that.
right, you know, we did
Yeah.
something wrong, you know, we killed children.
Yeah,
Okay, the
yeah.
Prophet said to them, what happened.
Yeah.
So what happened. So he was talking about the past. He wasn't talking about the future.
Wait. He doesn't
He's
just
saying,
He doesn't just say what happened. He says they are from them. In other words, there is some way in which this is permissible because their parents are presumably polytheists, or they might be Christians or Jews,
all right, okay.
and hence in that instance he can do it. But then he forbade it later.
You know, the only thing I could say is that the general rule in Islam is that in Islam, not only Islam, in any religion, in any ideology, that you don't kill children.
Okay.
So we're not different. As a Muslim, we're not different.
Wait. No, see,
You see,
I'm not interested.
Nobody targets children
Right.
and women.
Okay, that's fine.
see.
I'm totally fine. My issue with
Even if the Prophet said they are from amongst them, that doesn't mean the Prophet is commanding or allowing or justifying the killing of children at war.
But he is in that instance, though, yeah? Because he is in that instance.
Not necessarily, really. Not necessarily.
Okay, but then why is he saying to them that the children of the unbelievers, the polytheists, they are joined to their parents in the afterlife?
Yeah.
Why is he saying that? Because that sounds to me like he's giving a reason as to why that was permissible. Because I think you're right. I think Muslims would have had problems with killing women and children.
Of course, anybody would
Yeah,
have.
anyone,
Just
yeah,
Muslim, anybody,
absolutely.
yeah.
So I
human
think,
thing,
and I think on this occasion, he explained it by saying that they would have gone to the hellfire.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is this hadith sahih?
Yeah, Sahih, all Sahih. And it comes from different places. Let me tell you where all these. Let me tell you where this come from. Okay, so Sunan Ibn Majah 2823, that's Sahih. Sahih Muslim 1745A, Sahih Muslim 1745B.
So it's sahih, huh?
It's all
Muslims,
Sahih.
it's a Muslim.
Yeah, it's in Sunan Abu Dawud 2638, and then that one's Hassan.
Okay.
And then it's also in Mishkat al-Mashbi 3943.
Yeah.
And the grade, I translated it from Arabic, and it just says agreed upon by Albani. I can keep there's lots of
Chris,
these.
I could tell you what Muslim scholars said about this throughout centuries. Is that okay? If the Prophet said that, they all agree that the Prophet doesn't mean to allow killing the children. We all know that it's not allowed to kill children.
See,
it's not allowed.
I don't have a problem with law. I totally get that in Islamic
allowed.
jurisprudence you don't kill women and children
Yes,
now. I
yes.
totally. But what I'm saying to you is that in your earlier sources, there clearly were exceptions to that. That the Prophet, who according to Quran 33 ayah 21, says he is the greatest example to you today.
Maybe Chris, maybe the closest explanation I could come up with is that the Prophet, as a prophet, he cannot legislate or make rules on his own. He receives it from God, then he gives it. Maybe in that time, God did not give him any ruling on children. So he cannot rule something in or out. Just like alcohol.
Yeah.
There was a time when his followers were drinking alcohol. Some of his followers drink alcohol. He didn't say to them, don't drink. Because as a prophet, he doesn't do that. He only gets commands from God. If God said to him, tell them not to drink alcohol, then he tells them, don't drink alcohol.
Okay.
So he only moved by God's word. Do you understand that?
Right, okay,
So later, maybe Allah revealed to him, no, don't tell your followers not to kill children at war.
Right, so I would say that every Muslim and every believer and every human of any level knows once they reach a certain age that killing people is wrong, yeah? Excuse me, mate. Can you move out of the way, please?
Let's move it a little bit.
Yeah, let's move it out of the way. Thank you. There we go. Cool. So everyone knows that killing women and children is wrong.
Yeah,
if you have a moral conscience, right?
Yeah.
So the question is then, Muhammad knew that such a thing, because he is a human being, he would have known that that is wrong, yeah?
Yes.
But he did it anyway because presumably he believed that they were going to go to the same place that their parents would go. Do you understand what I'm saying there?
I understand. What do you think about the fact that before the battle, he didn't tell them kill children?
Well, I don't know. We can't know that. well, can you show me a hadith where he explicitly says, don't kill the women and children?
Because it goes without saying.
What does it go without saying? If they killed women and children...
Not to kill children,
but
it goes without saying.
But they did kill women and children though, right?
You know, it happens,
No.
Americans, and they kill, they bomb a house, and children die.
Their understanding was that it was something they should actively do. They in one of the hadiths...
No. Actively kill children.
No, in one of the hadiths it says they went around with the war chant of put to death, put to death.
Yeah, the people, the men who are fighting them.
But they also did it to the women and the children.
No.
So they needed clarity with the Prophet afterwards.
We cannot really say an adult fighting, see a child who go and kill him, want to kill
But that's what the early companions did. That's what the early Ummah did. Abu Bakr was the commander of that battle in which people killed women and children, right? So that to me seems that something I can't follow that. And if Muhammad says it was permissible in that instance and then forbade it later, I can't say that Muhammad is the greatest moral example, because no moral example would say that killing women and children is all right. Now remember, we both agree that God is the author of morality, yeah? So if God, in his wisdom, had commanded Muhammad to do this, then you have an argument, because you can say, well, it's not Muhammad doing it, it came from Allah. But this isn't revelation, this is just narrations of what he did in his own life. So then you would have to say that Muhammad, not from any command of Allah, allowed for the killing of women and children. You see the issue that you have there?
Chris, this is a really very long topic, and I said everything I know about this.
Okay.
And,
Shall we leave it there then?
But as a Muslim, throughout centuries, we know that the general rule in Islam is that at war you don't kill women, children, even men who are not fighting. Even men who have arms but not using it, you can't shoot at them or attack them. You only attack someone who attacks you. That's the general rule in Islam.
From fiqh, yeah? From the schools of law that people have come
the Prophet
over.
Said it. There's a hadith that said don't kill women and children and.
But not, you can kill men though. You can kill.
What they call combatants. Combatants, yeah, combatants. But if they lay down their arm, you can't.
No, if they lay down their arms and they submit to either pay the jizya if they're Christian or Jew, and or to say the shahada and become Muslim, then they're permitted. Because Muhammad himself said that those those are not permitted to him are those that pay the jizya or say the shahada. But everything else, it's allowable for him to take.
About that, for Jews and Christians and polytheists in Arabia in that time, Jews and Christians, they can keep their religion. They don't have to become Muslim. They can keep their religion.
If they pay jizya, yeah.
Like everybody else, because everybody is paying.
Well, Muslims don't pay
dues,
jizya.
No, they pay a tax.
Yeah, it's like a tax, but it's a tax that's only towards the.
You pay zakat.
Yeah, you pay zakat as a form of obligatory charity, but Christians and Jews. Yeah, but what I'm saying is that you're still forcing people to pay extra money.
It's a tax, like you pay tax.
Okay, so in this country, if we just made all the Muslims pay the Muslim tax, would that be all right? No, of course it wouldn't be. You'd be in arms about that.
No.
You wouldn't. You'd be happy to pay the Muslim tax.
Like to protect. If I protect you.
Yeah, but
camera filming.
yeah, if it's real, yeah. But it'd be like me saying, "I will protect you, brother. I will protect you. You just need to give me money."
Yeah.
What? But that's black. That's
do you know why?
extortion.
Do you know why? Do you know why?
Yeah. It's like the mafia. You make sure you pay your money and then they look after you.
Do you know
make
why
sure
Jews
you're
and
right.
Christians pay jizya?
Because the Islamic
I tell you
rule
why.
says they should.
Because living in the same country,
And Muhammad said you should. Yeah.
living in the same country, the country needs to be defended,
Okay.
and also the country might fight for their own interests
Okay,
outside.
sure.
So if Jews and Christians, they should join this fight because we're
Okay.
from the same country.
Sure.
But if they say no, we cannot fight because our religion tells us not to fight, then they can pay the jizya. If they
But do
join
you-
the fight, they're not going to pay.
Right, sure. But during times of peace, do they still pay the jizya?
I think no.
No, they still pay the jizya.
No, I think.
No. It's there's not jizya. It's
Look,
not an
as
explicit
long-
time.
As,
Yeah.
As long as there is jihad, they have to pay.
No. They pay jizya regardless. Yeah.
Because-
Muhammad said
because-
that if they pay the jizya and
Look,
submit,
okay,
or they say the
look,
shahada.
How long
Yeah.
the British army existed?
But
For as
why-
long as the British state existed, right? And this army
Okay.
needs
Okay.
needs
Yeah, but wait.
finances.
You're gonna score
So
an own goal
Muslims
there.
are generally
No,
the army,
because
the soldiers.
wait, the idea of a standing army is a new thing. A standing armies only go back a few hundred years. Before that, they would disband the army, and then they would only
It
call the
existed
army
in
to
Islam,
when they
it
needed
existed.
to.
In Islam, it existed. from
You had a
day one.
standing army that
Yes,
would never sit down.
yes,
No, you
yes.
didn't. No, you didn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't practical at all for anyone to
Because-
have standing armies all
Because
the way back then.
jihad is something that continues until the day of judgment.
Okay, well, okay. Who were they
As
doing
long-
jihad with?
Look,
Yeah.
if Christians, let's say in Syria there are Christians,
Mm.
if they join the Muslims in whatever war they fight,
Yeah.
then there is no need for jizya. Because
yeah,
they're
but-
fighting actually.
Yeah.
To know about the jizya, you need to come back to the history. In
Okay.
Medina or Mecca, the people is very poor.
Okay.
Some
Okay.
people rich, some
Right.
people poor.
Okay.
Take jizya from the rich people to give it to the small people.
Wait, but Christians were notoriously poor. So you're still making a poor people pay an additional tax. Do you understand?
No, I think,
So, and the thing is that from the death of Muhammad in 632, the early caliphs, Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, they went out and they conquered much of Persia, conquered much of the Byzantium Empire, they conquered all of North Africa, they conquered Spain, they even went into France.
Yeah.
So they were expanding at a very rapid rate. And any Christians that were in that domain were called to either repent and say the Shahada, or they pay the jizya. Yeah, I think that's immoral.
I think what I said to him, that
It's maybe like
what you're trying to say is everybody in that country will pay the normal taxes. The jizya was an additional tax.
Yeah. Yep.
On top.
In Islam there is no taxes. There is,
Everybody
no,
has to pay
there is jizya for non-Muslims and there is zakah for Muslims.
Yep.
There is no taxes. We're talking about Islam.
Wait,
We're
yeah,
talking
yeah,
about
wait.
secular system.
Is zakat
In
obligatory?
Egypt, they make people pay taxes. They don't
Wait.
take zakah.
Wait. Is zakat obligatory as you as a Muslim?
Yes.
Yeah,
Must.
then it's a tax then for all effective purposes.
Okay, you could call it tax. You could call it
If it's
tax.
obligatory, yeah, obviously
you
it's
could
a
call
tax.
it tax. You could call it tax. Yeah.
Yeah. And jizya is obviously a tax.
It's something that they should do. You know, they should pay.
You can just make sure you sort of stand away. Just don't get in here because otherwise it'll. But
Let me finish with him. Let me finish. With him.
all right then. Yeah.
What do you know? You like to make Islam anti-Christians and anti-Jews.
But Islam
Islam
just
is
reading.
not
Yeah, but
anti-Christian
I've read the
and
Quran.
anti-Jews.
I've read the Quran. There are clear parts where it says, look, you know, you're gonna have to go out and fight people. There's-
Islam, the
yeah.
Quran said there are some good Jews and Christians and some bad Jews and Christians.
Yeah, it does. But you need to understand the way the Quran is structured. Is there's the early Quranic revealed surahs,
Yeah.
and then the later ones.
Yeah.
The early ones are very peaceful. And then when in 622 Muhammad went to Medina from Mecca, when he went through that, he then started to change his message slightly and to preach things that were more violent. I mean, you could tell, like Surah 9. If you read Surah 9, it's one of the latest
The
surahs to
Prophet
be revealed.
Muhammad, he waged war because in Arabia was a country that has no peace and order. It was war. All the tribes fight each other. So the Prophet wanted to bring peace and order to Arabia. That's what he was trying to do. That's all. Nothing else.
Okay. But you know that when the Prophet died, the caliphates went out and conquered large swarms of land. Were they following Muhammad's example?
Because this new Islamic state
Yeah.
are threatened by the powers outside.
No, they weren't, because the powers
Do
outside.
you think the Romans would leave them alone?
Yeah, and we know that because they never. when did the Romans invade Arabia? They went through to try to get to Yemen.
Come on, man! Everybody knows the
No,
Romans.
the
They
Ro-
just
wait,
wanna conquer everybody.
The Romans only considered Arabia Felix as the only part of Arabia that was worth conquering.
Okay, they don't
Do you-
conquer
you know-
other nations. What were they doing in Syria and Egypt?
Yeah, above north, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, what they were doing there?
They actually saw
Why?
that as valuable. They did conquer that, absolutely.
Okay.
What I'm saying to you is they never thought, they had a name for it, Arabia Deserta. That's what they called where Mecca is and Medina is, the Hijaz. They called it Arabia Deserta. It means there's nothing there.
Okay.
So-
but if
so
there
there
is
was
something, they'll attack.
If they thought it was valuable, yeah.
Okay.
But they didn't.
So is that right?
Okay, so wait, okay, think of it this way.
Let's say
The-
I'm rich.
Yeah.
Do somebody have the right to attack me?
No, I'm not talking about what should and shouldn't be. I'm simply describing what was. Did the Romans attack
All right,
Mecca and Medina?
You said the Romans didn't attack Arabia because there was nothing.
In Arabia Deserta, they believed there was nothing there.
Okay. But
And there
now
probably
there is a
wasn't anything.
state.
Right.
Now
yeah.
there is a state and
Yeah.
order and
Yeah.
everything.
What was happening
Do you
in
think
that
they
time?
leave them alone?
They were leaving them alone at that time.
Come
Do you know,
on, man,
No,
come
no,
on.
no, you know they were. Okay, so do you know about the war with the Byzantines and the Persians? The war between the Byzantines and the Persians happened from 602 to 628. That's a large part of Muhammad's time. They were totally focused on fighting each other. The big superpowers of the day were Byzantium and Persia.
All right, Chris.
There was no reason for anyone to invade.
Muslims believe that even if Muslims did not go outside Arabia, the Romans and the Persians would come to them.
Okay,
Okay.
they can believe
There
that,
is another
but there
thing.
was no reason to
There is
believe.
another factor
Okay.
other than these powers being threat to the Islamic State. There is another factor why the Muslims went outside. It's because they have a message to deliver to nations. And if these states say to them, no, you're not coming with your message to our people, then the Muslims have to fight them.
See, can you imagine if the Christians had done that? If we had an idea that we need to go into Saudi Arabia now and fight.
Why the let's say the Roman or the Persian Empire? Why they say to Muslims you're not delivering your message to our people? They don't have the right to say that.
By force, they don't have the right, as in they couldn't force you to, unless you were being aggressive and you were taking land, which is what historically happened.
No need to take land. No, just Muslims need to come inside Persia and
No, it wasn't
Rome.
natural immigrations. It wasn't as if all
No, no.
Muslims thought they wanted to go all over the world.
They have a message to deliver, man.
Right, but it's not proselytizing. That's what I'm saying to you. They're not going. It's not Muslims like Da'is. It's not people going out and preaching about Islam. It's entire armies going across large swathes of land and conquering land. That's historically what happens.
I could only tell you the position of Muslims on this.
Right.
That's why
You see-
what happened.
What
Because
happened?
Muslims have the right to defend themselves from threats, and also they have the right to deliver the message.
Think about it. Where was the threat from North Africa? Because the entirety of
The
North
Romans
Africa
were
was
there.
taken out.
The Romans were there.
Okay. So, but you know, it's a long way from North Africa to the Hijaz, right? It's not as if it's like right next door. You have to go quite a.
Vice versa. They coming from Hijaz to North Africa.
Yeah.
That's
It's.
what he was saying.
Okay. So where was the threat from Spain?
Andalus. During the Andalus time.
Andalus, yeah.
Because suicide, they killed nearly 4 million Muslims.
Well, in Andalus.
Yes, and then they fleet. No, brother, they fleet. I know this.
No.
They fleet. They fleet.
You know, we have like no historical evidence of any battles actually happening, right?
That time, Jewish and Muslim, they come saved by Ottoman Empire. They come to. I know, brother. I know.
I know,
the
I've looked
history.
into it.
I'm from there. I know the
I
story.
know what
the
they say.
history very well because I've
Okay,
been to
Chris,
there.
let's
Oh,
finish
right.
with this.
All right.
Let's finish with this.
Yeah.
The Prophet said that Allah, he looked before Muhammad come, Allah looked at the world and he despised everybody except some Jews and Christians.
Before Muhammad came.
Before
yeah?
Muhammad,
Right.
Allah looked at the world
Yeah.
and he despised everybody, including the Arabs of Mecca. He despised them.
Yeah.
it's everybody except some Jews and some Christians.
Right. Okay. Sure.
So why,
Yeah, but you see-
why would the Prophet?
He's a nice guy.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Well,
I would say, yeah, I do like
that
Sahih,
tells
yeah.
you that tells you that Prophet Muhammad is not anti-Jews and Christians,
Okay.
because
Right.
he himself as a man,
Yeah.
before being prophet and after, he thought the Jews and the Christians are better than his people.
Okay.
Because
I
his
know where that
people
comes from.
were idol worshippers.
I totally get it. Yeah.
He used to associate himself with the Jews and Christians.
Right. Okay. That's fine. What I'm saying though is that in later.
That's why.
Wait.
Sorry. That's why after he brought his message, he said to his people, "You're not allowed to continue with your religion." But he said to Jews and Christians, "Continue with your religion. Keep your religion."
Well, no, he called for Christians and Jews to actually say the Shahada.
No,
You're
no.
gonna say he had
He
no
would call
expectation
everybody.
of
He
it.
would call everybody.
Right.
He would call everybody.
And of
That's
course,
different.
if you didn't,
That's different.
then you would have submit and pay the jizya.
But what I'm saying is, he had no problem them keeping their religion. But the Arabs, he said
Yeah,
no.
yeah. In the early
He said
parts
no.
of the Quran, yes.
You
In
either
the-
become Muslim or
Wait. In the early part of the Quran, when the Quran was revealed, yeah. He says you have your religion,
Even
I have
after,
mine.
even after,
No,
even
even after. No, because the later parts of the Quran are things like Surah 9. And Surah 9 gives commands like Surah 9, Ayah 29 to fight the Jews and the Christians.
but only.
Like, I mean, it's pretty
but
clear.
only
like,
if they don't pay the jizya.
yeah, by all means. I
It's not
totally
about
grant
their religion, really.
that when Muslims go into Christian and Jewish lands and they fight them, and the Jews and Christians go, no, we're going to take the Shahada,
All right.
no, we're going to pay the jizya, then yeah, you leave them alone.
All right, thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you
We'll
very much,
finish with
Saeed.
that,
Yeah.
and I have another question. We'll talk about it later. I have a
Okay.
question for you.
All right, then we'll talk about it
later. Okay.
All right, take care,
All right,
Saeed.
nice
All the
one.
best, all the best. No worries. Would any of you like to talk about Islam?